Alright, we're back. Gonna go to the penultimate game of this series on Havana, where the mistakes of the SF Shock, or how not well they're playing, how messy they're playing. There we go, that's the word. English is hard. How messy their gameplay right now is very apparent.
Attackers incoming.
Especially when it comes to facing Dante Sombra. Or, in general, the Outlaws Sombra Goats. So anyway, let's advance time just a smidge.
Five, four, three, two, one. Attackers
Oop.
incoming.
We need to slow down time and notice that the Outlaws are holding fairly close. Super already has taken quite a bit of spam. Forces the bubble. Well, actually he didn't. Wow, that was really patient from Linkser. Like, he bubbles Muma really late. And now they have the bubble advantage. Muma can just go aggressive. Does not choose to do so though. So yeah, they still have a ways to go, but the significant improvements are very apparent for the Outlaws. They're able to, their bubble usage in this particular series are more efficient than that of the SF Shock. Like before Super can actually close the distance to strike Muma, they already had to use the bubble. And part of that is because Super already took so much spam before he can close the distance. I guess you could also say that Raucus, that's also on Raucus. It's a really nice assassination by Dante. So, like, the Outlaws can now just collapse. They need to collapse on one target though. Muma backs up because he was low health. I think that fight could have been cleaner if the target focus was better and they were faster with committing. But they still get Rascal in the end. Now, SF Shock are trapped inside their own spawn against the Outlaws, who have had a season, like a stage 2, had 0 wins, as far as I know. Oh, Muma is almost dead. They need to back off a little bit. Dante now has EMP. I think they're just drawing them in. I need to slow down this damn fight. Super takes a lot of spam, so he backs off as well. Bubble is already committed in Super. I don't understand that. He wasn't even close enough. And Dante is able to friggin' go into the middle. Like, let's watch that again. Dante is deep within enemy territory, and he went in from the front. Dante just goes in, Chohyobin touches him, dodges friggin' Moth, and somehow, some way, that actually works. I mean, that's just how sloppy friggin' Shock are playing right now. They couldn't even flush out Dante, who was coming in from the front as a stealthed Sombra. So they respawn. Shock have basically every single ult that they could want, but the same could be said of Outlaws. The grabs goes out. I'm not 100% sure you should be transing this if you're Raucus, because there's nothing here that will damage you. Like, maybe a Fire Strike, but like, the combination of Boink and Jake are going to be enough to negate the damage from the Fire Strike. It will give Super a lot of ult, but he already has his ult, which the Outlaws already know. So yeah, the Transcendence probably not necessary. It's a difficult instinct to fight, because typically whenever you get grab, you want to be, if you're a Zen, you want to use your Transcendence and go into that grab to save your teammates. But in this situation, the entirety of Shock are inside that grab from Linkser. So that means that there's not really a lot of damage that's gonna come in if Muma just holds his shield up. Violet is already dead because Linkser is in the middle of 6 people and none of them wanted to oblige to kill him. Not that they could kill him. And of course, with a fat shatter like that, it's an overfight. Probably committed way more ultimates than they should have. Did Outlaws, but hey, it's a win. Okay. How many ults did Shock commit? 1, 2, 3. I guess they also committed quite a bit of theirs. But I think they could have saved the Transcendence still for the Outlaws. So the play here, if you're Shock, is to beat aggressively or to Transcendence aggressively. You want to save your beat for the EMP. Yeah, they can just Transcendence right now. Like right now. Transcendence and then beat the hell out of Muma. But I think they're stuck on the idea that you need to save your Transcendence for what do you call this? For when this happens, when your main tank gets isolated or pinched, or if they're going for an EMP. But the thing is, the only thing that you need to save for the EMP is your beat. Because even if you do get the Transcendence, in response to the EMP, they just, like, Outlaws will just run over you. Yeah, like, the rest of your team does not have any form of ability to save themselves. They just heal up. And what that does is, for the Outlaws, they build up their ultimates, and there's nothing the Shock can do about it, other than just stay there and take it. So. But that's a really good bomb that splits off the Outlaws. So they were lucky this time, I'm gonna go ahead and say. I think that would have been a lot better if Dante actually committed the EMP as well, but he needed to get Moth. So it was a bit risky. They still have like another fight. The only time that you've basically lost the fight here, or you should give, kind of like Gibraltar, because you want to have a second fight here, like 2 fights in this particular section, just like in Gibraltar. So the time that you just give up the point is when this payload is able to round this corner. If it's able to do that, I think, in my opinion anyway, you should just give it up and defend second point. Just set up for second point. Anyway, let's see how this plays out. Jockeying for position, as per usual. No one's pushing the payload, and I am somewhat triggered by that. Where is Violet? Violet is going high ground with his Brig. Brig on high ground, fine. So is Zen, but come on, guys, you need someone to push the payload.
Routing power to forward barrier.
60 seconds remaining.
Fire at will.
Okay, they go for grab. They go for grab. The grab is a little bit better for the Outlaws, honestly, because they're still covered by that Transcendence. I'm not sure if they should have used Transcendence, but I mean, they still get a pick off. It's whatever. They force out another ult from SF Shock, so I guess it's fine. They still have EMP. I've yet to use it.
30 seconds
Jake a bit too far forward. Oh. That sync though. That sync between the Earth Shatter and the EMP. Good grief. This EMP goes down. It was mid-swing. It was friggin' mid-swing. Wow. Just wow. Okay, Muma goes back. Dante is getting into position. Muma goes for the EMP even before the Earth Shadow, even before the EMP actually procs 100%. Like this, visually, this is not indicative of them getting hacked just yet. So the amount of trust between them is kind of awesome. Trust and coordination in terms of their Sombra play is kind of amazing. SF Shock, they need to work on how to engage into Sombra compositions. Sombra good compositions, especially especially teams that know how to play them. And like Outlaws are showing everybody that they definitely know how to play. Yeah, it's like they had to use Violet had to use Transcendence just to get Super onto the point, as well as the other members of the Shock, and now they don't have a Transcendence. If there was an EMP, there was another EMP, like they're screwed. But I mean, I guess they're lucky. Okay, even fight. Goes for a shatter, but does not get anything. Raucous was just too quick, and this is an overfight. It's a Tracer. It's a Tracer goats versus actual goats, Sombra goats. You're not gonna win. They do need to focus targets down though. Okay, they're cleaning up. Alright, that was a little bit closer than it had to be, but they focused down their targets in the end, Outlaws, so there was no recovery. And I think there was just a bit of miscommunication, because I think the plan there was to transcend all the way towards the point. Sinatra switched to the Tracer, which was not gonna help him much other than just touch the point. So yeah, this should be an easy win for the Outlaws. Not sure what they're gonna run with though. They're gonna run with probably not that, but we'll see. A few seconds.
Attackers incoming.
I guess this is just to try and get a pick off. Linkser should switch to like that. Zarya. I'm not sure I agree with holding this close right in front of their door, because they can just go inside and be somewhat okay. But then again, like the distance that they have to like they have to prevent the payload from crossing is really short. Another option for Shock is to just go what do you call this? Bunker, but number one, I don't think they practice bunker. Number two, like this is a bit sketch of a hold for bunker. This is a better place for bunker. The problem with that is the point is right here. So holding with bunker is still very risky for them.
Time to raise my APM.
Rascal gets hacked. Moth is half. They need to back off a little bit, but so does the Outlaws. Dante goes for a sneaky push, distracts them enough so that the rest of the Outlaws are able to push forward. Nice nade. They can go aggressive. Muma tries to engage with the charge. Unfortunately, well, fortunately for the Outlaws, there was a shield from Linkser that blocked the shatter. Muma right now is unlucky, because that's why I don't like initiating anything with a charge. No matter if like the Ryan is showing his back to this wall, it's because there's so many things on a goat's composition, even without a brig, that can still punish you. Like Violet can just turn around, discord Muma, and then the rest of the Shock can just collapse on them. Another one is Super just going for a Nurse Shatter. Zones out the rest of the Outlaws, and then you can finish off Muma after that. So Dante's pressuring the point every single time, forcing Cho Hyobin to contest him. The only reason why Dante does not stay for the 1v1 is because he's still in line of sight of both Violet and Rascal, so Cho Hyobin, even if he gets hacked, is very much fine. Dante can still get discorded and picked off should he stay. That's okay though. If you're Outlaws, you have plenty of time. Nano Boost is engaged. They need to close the distance. There's no more boots. Nice kiting from the Shock. They commit the triangle, not the triangle, the square. That's definitely not a triangle, Gumby. They commit the square. extra DPS, extra healing. SF Shock are able to kite the nano boost, and then they grab. Nice boop. Does mess up the charge, but not enough to save Muma. Easy wipe. If you're Outlaws, that's kinda okay. You're still building up quite a bit of your ultimates yourself. You have your EMP almost ready, as well as a Shatter, so they can combo that just like how they comboed on defense. Engagement is about to happen. Energy bubble from self-energy bubble from Lixer. No bubbles yet committed from Sinatra.
Apagando las luces.
EMP goes out, still gets an EMP on Violet. I guess the most important person to EMP amongst all of them, so that's really unfortunate. Earth Shatter is about to get so much value. Of course, this is going to be a wipe. And there's nothing that... Okay, I don't agree with that charge even though you have a man advantage, but I guess there's not really much to punish you. They need to push payload, 2 on it. Actually, you can commit 3 on it. But... this is a new map, I don't think teams are too familiar just yet. Bubble is on Muma, who also has that. He doesn't want to go full commit on Super because he has the Earth Shatter. I forgot to slow down time. Grab goes out from Lixer, but there's a Transcendence for it, so I think if you're Super, you're going to try and go for a Shatter yourself, just to zone out the rest of the Outlaws from you. Buy your team some time. Maybe get a counter initiation afterwards. Okay, it's a really good grab. Nice timing on that. Sound barrier saves Muma. Moth is about to die. So the Violet. It's a really good flank from Lixer. And this should be over. So if you're SF Shock, what could you have done instead in that fight? So let's advance it a little bit. I think you should have switched from... Rascal should have switched, I think, from Batiste. But then again, I don't think he could have built up Rally that quick. But the thing about Brig is at least you have an AoE heal. An armor pack. Whereas if you have this, we don't have the armor pack, therefore Super cannot really like full on engage just as much as Muma. Because he has armor pack, he has bubble. He can just stay in that fight, in that melee with Super for hella long. And there's also a nano boost. So we're gonna slow down time here.
Into the iris.
Огонь по готовности.
Dante goes for Rascal because he was able to... Oh, that's actually really big too, because Rascal being hacked means that there's no immortality field. And that's why this fight was going to favor the Outlaws much more.
Routing power to forward shield.
Like the time that he was able to do that, like he couldn't even get out the immortality field to save Violet. And it doesn't help that Moth already got picked off as well. So yeah, this is a doomed fight.
Suiting up.
Just really good Sombra plays from Dante.
Routing
Then Lynx are just going for a flank because he knows very well that number one, the rest of the SF Shock are committing to this fight. Number two, since he is very high charge, he can just delete any hero with 200 HP. Yeah, that immortality field is way too late. So yeah, like Outlaws are a team to be reckoned with whenever they're playing their Somber Ghost composition. Their normal Ghost composition definitely needs work. And SF Shock, well, hopefully, well, I think they did. They did tighten up their play. The following matches after this, or the following series after this. So anyway, I'm gonna take a break again, and after that, we're going to go to the final map of this series. So stay tuned.